Let's kick things off. Welcome to Disexplainer, everyone. Right now, we're looking at a completely critical, rapidly unfolding flashpoint in the Middle East. Today, we're mapping out the exact anatomy of this recent escalation between the US and Iran, specifically in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I want to be super clear right up front. We aren't here to take any political sides or point fingers. Our goal is to simply cut through all that noise and look objectively at the actual sequence of events that pushed this entire region right to the brink. So let's jump in.
Okay, let's dive into this. To truly grasp the shock of the recent missile strike, we have to look at the chain reaction that international analysts watched unfold in real time. According to observers, this rapid breakdown of diplomacy, it wasn't exactly a mystery. Actually, many argue that specific unilateral steps taken in the days prior made Monday's direct attack virtually inevitable. It's like watching a row of dominoes falling. And to understand why analysts came to that startling conclusion, we really need to examine the strike itself.
Let's look at the immediate trigger here. According to details from Fars news agencies, a U.S. warship was navigating dangerously close to Iran's Jask Island, heading right toward the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. But as it attempted to enter, it was targeted. Iranian coastal defense forces launched a massive barrage of pinpoint missiles, and this hit with such severity that the American vessel reportedly lost its direction and had to abruptly change course just to survive. The sudden, really violent nature of this incident reportedly left U.S. President Donald Trump completely bewildered, scrambling to figure out a response.
So how exactly did two nations end up in an active missile exchange? Well, just look at the direct collision of their public postures. It's pretty wild. On one side, you have the U.S. strategy, firmly anchored by President Trump's pledge to secure and extract trapped ships. Then on the opposing side, you have Tehran's strict counter-warning, essentially saying any unauthorized entry would be treated as an immediate threat and met with severe military consequences. It was literally a clash of two completely unyielding strategies. You've got one side promising to enter and the other side promising to fire.
So the crucial point is that this absolutely did not happen in a vacuum. Remember the immediate historical context here. Just prior to this naval clash, these two nations had emerged from a bloody, exhausting 40-day war. Think about that for a second. The geopolitical stakes, the military trigger fingers, they were already at an absolute peak before a single ship even approached Jask Island.
Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds, because mapping out exactly how fast this escalated is incredibly revealing. That 40-day war we just mentioned culminated in a diplomatic handshake, a ceasefire agreement signed on April 8th. But look at how fast that completely unravels. Just one day later, major unilateral actions fracture the peace. By April 12th, diplomats are scrambling in Islamabad. And then just days later, we have direct missile strikes. I mean, we went from a signed peace treaty to active fire in essentially a single week.
Let's zoom in on those specific post-ceasefire actions. What exactly happened on April 9th? Literally mere hours after the ink dried on that ceasefire. Well, two major unilateral moves by the United States instantly spiked tensions right back up to the breaking point. First, they imposed a strict naval blockade on Iranian ports. And second, they simultaneously seized an Iranian oil tanker in the Arabian Sea. So, when analysts called the eventual attack inevitable, this is exactly what they were pointing to. It was essentially destroying the diplomatic off-ramp in under 24 hours.
Realizing the situation was spiraling completely out of control, there was one final, desperate attempt to de-escalate things. On April 12th, special representatives met in Islamabad, Pakistan for high-stakes peace talks, really hoping to salvage that April 8th ceasefire. But those intensive discussions failed. Diplomacy literally hit a brick wall. That failure shattered any remaining goodwill and directly paved the way for the physical confrontation out on the water.
And this brilliantly illustrates how a localized strike creates a massive macro-level crisis. We aren't just talking about a single ship anymore, folks. We're looking at cascading global fallout. First, you have the definitive destruction of the April 8th ceasefire. Second, the gathering storm clouds of open, widespread war over the Persian Gulf. And third, and this is exactly why this matters directly to you and me, because the Strait of Hormuz is such a vital maritime choke point, this instability is actively threatening to severely destabilize global energy markets and fuel prices. We're talking major economic ripples.
Which brings us to the ultimate question facing the international community today. With diplomacy completely fractured, militaries actively engaging, and global energy markets bracing for impact, can these dark clouds over the Persian Gulf actually be dispersed? Or have the events of this last week pushed the region, and by extension the entire global economy, into an unavoidable storm? The situation right now is balanced on a knife's edge.
You'll definitely want to keep a close eye on the reporting because whatever decisions are made next will have profound global consequences. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.